Hey guys, Jared here with HHO. We're going to talk about our newest offering, which is the DPF Rinse and Flush chemical treatment for DPF that is proven to lower ash and soot in every DPF we've tested it on. So we're super excited about it. It's a really awesome product. We're excited to get it out in the market and get you guys using it and making some money. So we're going to talk about some proper procedures today. We have a DPF here that is cut apart. We're going to demonstrate the proper way to do the service, which service probe to use, and the proper settings on the flush gun. So I'm sure you guys have watched some of the other videos we've put out and instructions. The first thing we're going to do is locate how are we going to get inside of this DPF. And most all systems have a void between the DOC and the DPF that will have an exhaust gas temperature sensor and a access port for the differential pressure sensor. So we're going to look at it and see which one of those is going to be the easiest to get to. In this case, this is the system off of a Cummins from, I think, a 2012 Ram. On this one, it is by far easier to pull the exhaust gas temperature sensor out to gain access to do what we need to do. So we would simply unscrew the exhaust gas temperature sensor. Keep in mind, the threads can sometimes be a little galled up on these systems, so you kind of need to work it back and forth and lubricate it with some kind of PB blaster or WD-40. We're going to set that aside. Now we know that some of these holes go from 4mm to 8mm holes, so that's going to depend on which probe we're going to use on our flush gun. We know this is a 4mm hole. It's a really small one. We have designed a copper adapter for our flush gun to get inside of these smaller holes. What you have to worry about with the copper one is, one, kinking it. It can be bent around to go around a frame or whatever. You don't want to kink it. You also want to know the orientation of the holes at the end, because that's what direction it's going to spray. And we definitely want to spray towards the front of the DPF. Now, once we go inside of this hole, we're going to try to imagine that this is not cut open where we can see it, but we're going to want to know where the other side is, so we know how far to back off to kind of be in the middle. And we're going to want to make sure through either, if you put a small bend in the copper tube or whatever, to remember where the orientation is on your spray nozzle holes at the end. So we're going to insert this in. We're going to go all the way to the other side until it stops. So we're going to know that that is the distance we have to work with to get full coverage on our DPF. So we're going to kind of pull it back to the middle and go back again. We're going to double check that we have our holes are oriented in the right position. We're going to stick it back in, get back in the middle, and then that's where we're going to stop. Now we're going to turn on the air to the flush gun. And by the way, guys, let me show you the gauges on these flush guns while we're here. Inlet air pressure should be 60 psi. These all have built-in regulators to set that. The gauge on the actual flush tool should read around 4 bar. We do not want to put more than 60 psi inlet pressure on this flush gun, or more than 4 bar inside of the DPF. Too much pressure could damage the catalyst. Although that would be hard to do, we're gonna play on the safe side and stick with the pressures that we know are working great for us. So remember, 60 psi, 4 bar, that's where it needs set at all times. So once we get that, we're gonna turn the valve on to the flush gun, which is gonna pressurize the chemical in the canister. And then we're just simply going to start spraying and work this back and forth, and we're gonna rotate it and try to get full coverage on that DPF. We're gonna go back and forth and rotate up and down until we have used every bit of chemical inside of our canister. So we have that's how long it takes to use 1,000 milliliters. It doesn't take long at all, so you don't want to hold it in one spot. You want to keep moving and keep rotating to get full coverage. Sometimes, guys, if this hole is a bigger hole, you can get a little spray back. Be sure and wear your PPE. We're going to wear safety glasses. We're using water, so I don't have rubber gloves on for this demonstration. But if we were using the chemical, I would have rubber gloves on and have a better pair of safety glasses on that actually covered the side. Because you got to remember, you're going to be laying underneath these vehicles doing it. You can't quickly get out of the way if it starts to splash or whatever. So make sure you got yourself protected at all times while you're underneath here. So that was as simple as it was to inject the flush into the DPF. At this point, we would let this set for 40 minutes. We would come back and do the same procedure for the rinse. After we do the rinse, we would swap air guns on to our air hose, and we would just hold air pressure going into here for about 3 minutes. And what that does is it dries up residual that could have puddled up, but it also pushes that chemical through the DPF and to where the ash would be stored in the DPF. So once we do that, we're gonna button this thing up. We're gonna hook our laptop to it, which is hopefully already hooked up because we waited 40 minutes in between these two procedures. And we're gonna do a manual regeneration. Regenerations are mandatory when we do this service. So if you think that the truck or the piece of equipment will not be able to do a regeneration when you're done with this procedure, then we shouldn't do it. For this to be effective, we have to do a regeneration. We do an enhanced regeneration here, and most of you guys will too. While we're doing a regeneration, we're going to hook up an HHO 1500 and also be using it while the manual regeneration is happening. So once that regeneration's happened, you can watch your ash and soot loads, and you're going to see them go way down. And that's our goal. And if there was any D-rate codes for excess ash or something, those will go away as well. But anyway, guys, super simple procedure, but super effective. Call and get your chemical today. If you have any questions, reach out and we will help you.